Hi everybody, it's Colin here from Woodthorp International. In the last video I was showing you how I wanted to do the CVs for speed measuring using the Sprog 2 because certain decoders can't be seen by eye train because that works with Railcom. Now that engine we're looking at there has a Railcom decoder in, and if I'm not mistaken it's a Batman, which is made by Zimmo. Now there's only about 4 or 5 makes that use Railcom, and I said that I had a problem with the Americans and Japan. Europeans should be covered by it because I believe Railcom came from Europe. Now, I had a very nice gentleman in America send me some bits and pieces, and I was ever so grateful. And he'd sent me a comment saying that he was fascinated on me doing 4 countries over 2 levels in 2 different sheds and a third shed for the fiddle yard over 2 levels, and he thought what an amazing thing to try and do. And he uses Lodi. I don't know if he uses iTrain, but he uses Lodi, and he wanted to send me some little bits, and I thought, great, that's very nice of him. But in it was something what for me is a game changer. Now, it's only from the point of view for me because it's all to do with Railcom, and a lot of people don't need or want to have Railcom, but it does little things what make iTrain and Lodi work better for me to see, visually see, and things that happen in different ways. And I'll just show you one of the American decoders. And that is an American decoder. It's called a drop-in decoder. Now, that particular one is that, and that's the code. And some of these go in more than one style of American train. I'm not saying that one does, but that's the style. And it will fit onto other locos. But there are a lot more different ones. They have different shapes. Now, what you do, you literally drop it in between those 2 pieces of metal there, and then push it that way, because if you look there, there's a slot in the metal, and there's a copper contact on top and one underneath, and you slide it in, and then that's the pickup from the right side and the separate on the left, because it's a split metal engine like ours at the end of the day. And then it does its stuff on the decoder and goes down onto a couple of pieces of metal. One side it sticks up and out, and the other side sticks going downwards and out, and that slides over the top and makes contact to the motor. It has a light at that end and a light on there at the other. No wires like in a lot of English locos running along the top of the say along the top of the roof, or from part of the PCB board off to one end and so on. This is all in one. They're not, for a good decoder in Britain, like a Bachmann, Zimo and others, they're slightly cheaper, but it has everything on it. When you get them, it has a blank what just makes contact to the body and goes down to the brushes, and the lights change in whichever way the loco is running. Just like any other DC, they have blanking plates in. This has like a blanking plate, but again, it's all in one. You don't have a separate bit what you pull off to put on. Very easy to fit, a lot easier. But what's happened is this guy sent 5 of these over, and they were in the box still, and it says Railcom. I thought, oh, they can't be decoders because there's only 4 wires. And then I thought maybe it's just 4 wires for trains without lights. I don't know. Anyway, I had to find out, but he sent me a comment saying what these did. And basically, they're a Railcom Addon. And I said, how do you mean? Because I got a bit giddy. And he says, basically, add it to the pickups and reprogram the number in, running number. And in this case, I put all 4 on. And if it's a British one, it's the first 2 and last 2 where I can. And he said, just reprogram it back in and it'll write the number to that decoder and that. But on reading the instructions, I wondered what the other 2 wires for, because you have to use the red and the black. The red goes to the right side and the black goes to the left side of the engine. And the brown are for reprogramming updates onto the decoder. And I thought, well, I'm not going to buy a lock pilot capability unit to update it. If it's got Railcom on, it'll have Railcom all its life. And I thought, absolutely fantastic. Now it does say, don't let the brown wires touch out. So I've wrapped them up and I've wrapped the decoder up. And it says attached to the pickups. Now I could maybe solder somewhere onto each side of the pickups, but what I'm going to do is there's a gap under the full length of the body what that decoder sits on. So I'm going to lay my wires there and put the decoder under here. And I believe they designed this so the speaker can go in that area. But this isn't got a sound on at the moment. And there is a bit of a gap there. I could maybe put it there, but there's the body cab to go in and stuff. So I think that fills all that. Not having a look, I think that's what happens. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slide this out, lay the wire inside that slot and then push it in and trap the wire to touch the metal and the copper strip, and that'll then make a connection. That's the plan. But what this Railcom does, I'll just go to the computer, but what I found out was I believe the company doesn't make any of them anymore. So there's me getting giddy, but there's me finding out that I believe, and I've been to the website, and it's not even on the website no more. I have found some more of this particular type, but I have also found another make, which I've brought up on the computer. And that's it, Train-O-Matic. 2 wires, Railcom transmitter decoder. And it's an add-on. And they've got only 2 wires on, so I don't have to worry about updating it. And it comes wrapped up, does the decoder, so there's no problem with touching anything. And I believe that does the same. So for that price, it's worth every penny for me, because the decoders, like I say, aren't that dear, what fit into the American trains, and I can get Railcom into everything, because what it does for me, that shows up on a Railcom train, that class 68, and the running number I have in, and that's the running number for that class 50. If it doesn't have Railcom in, it just shows on the feedback as lit instead of not lit. They're black there, but when a train goes in and activates the track, it shows red. But it also gives you the running number. And with me using Lodi, it gives you a train in the direction it's facing, and when the train is facing like that, it's going forward. Now this going on and off I found is normal. It's sometimes how what's happening, if the trains aren't doing anything, or if they're very busy or stuff, and it just pulses on and off. But if I just bring it down here, this train, I'm going to pick up and turn it around. And there it is, facing forward. So I'm going to pick this train up. This is the front and going forward. So if I show you it on here when it reappears, there it is. If I pick it up, when it's on, it's now off. There's no power being drawn in that one block, so you can see that the line's gone off. But if I put it back on, it is now facing the other way. And just to show you, it is now facing the other way. So when I'm, say, in here, and I'm looking at a train in England with Railcom in, I can check which way the train is facing to help me know which way on the plan it's actually going to go. And there are other indications we can look at. If I go to this throttle, that is going forward, that is reverse. But there's loads of things I can look at for me to know which way the engine is actually facing. We look at this train here, it's on the outside track, and if I show you it on the plan, that's that train 4133, but the feedback is just red. Now I'm going to put this decoder in, give it that number, and what we should see is a box like those with the running number in. If I fit it right, and it does what it says on the box. So I'll come back to you when I've plugged it in and it's on the track, and that hopefully is lit up. I thought I'd show you the engine without the decoder in, or the blanking part. And that's the piece of metal what I said sticks out from the top on this side, and it's sticking out, so it wants to put pressure onto those two pieces of copper. And they're quite substantial, and if I turn it around, you'll see the other one is coming from the bottom. So that's how basically you just drop that on, and I can't do it with just one hand, but you drop that on because you have to push, and I have to see the other side, and I can't hold this and do it, but you would just drop it down into that slot and then push it forward. So that's it in there, and what I'm going to do, the one thing I believe this is the right thing to be doing is you program that decoder first, then add the Railcom one in. That's how I believe I should be doing it, and that's how I will do it. So all I've got to do now is get my handset, find the loco, where is it? Sorry about the reflection of the light. Oh, there it is, Railcom, or Conrail as that's known as. Press the spanner, brings that up, brings the CV programmer in. The number is in, so all I'll do is highlight it, and then if I tick yes, it programs the addressing, and that has the decoder number on both. It was already on the top one, but it should be on that one as well. Right, you see this bit of yellow here, that track there, that is that piece. And there's another thing Railcom does. If I put this carless rail on, I know this carless rail does not have Railcom in. And if I can hold that up, you'll see when it makes contact, it changes to red. It indicates there is a train on there, but in the block name there's nothing. And if I bring you down to this one, what you have to do to get the train into the block is just drag it over, and then I'll take it back up to this because it's a bigger screen. It then puts GB class 70, which is that 70 engine. So that's a little bit not fiddly, but that's something you have to do if you want to see the train indicator run round and indicating in each block. as it goes round. So if I just bring my mouse up to here somewhere, if that was to go into that block, it would then highlight there. You can run trains without that, but if I wanted to drag it to there and give it a route, it has to have the engine actually there like that, so I can drag it over and release it to do an instant route, it's called. But a train with Railcom in, this is what is going to happen. Right, the Class 70 has gone off that particular line. There is the train, what I've just fitted this extra add-on, the Railcom Addon. Watch what happens this time when I put this train on. If I can hit it and hold the thing right. Instantly, not only does it indicate the running number now in the feedback, but it also puts on the name of the train in the block. And that's what Railcom does for you, instead of doing it like I showed you with the Class 70, dragging it on. Now, okay, I may not have enough trains yet to fill all the fiddle yard and all the different layouts, but eventually I'll get more, and I might have to take engines off and put them back on, and I won't have to worry about putting the information in on here because it'll just come automatically. And there is something else it does. So I've just put the Class 50 with the 68, and it shows both trains on one track, but it leaves that as the leading train, the one you're driving, and the other one is just there. And I think that's a good idea as well. So this is the two trains, what you've just seen, like double-headed with both information. So that's what Railcom does for you. It does a lot of things, and no doubt there's even more it does, and I haven't seen it or worked it out yet because I'm learning all the time. So all I'll do now is just push this back on there, clips in to little bits round here, and that loco has then got it in, and I think that's absolutely marvellous for me because I need it, or it's better to have it. I thought, well, I better show you it running really, that it does, does work, even for putting that add-on decoder on. Without the glue. And the front lights still work, and the back light for when it reverses, because I've tested it. I know we said we were running British stuff, but because I needed to try this add-on, I've had to try it on an American first, because I know that was an easy way of doing it. So that nicely works. Thank you, Tommy in America, for bringing that to my attention. I am very grateful, and sending those 5 over. Thank you. I have now painted the very top and a little bit of this face with some soil colour, and I'm going to put some undergrowth on so I can get the trees at the very back so I can build this bit out. But I just thought I'd just show you that up to now I'd run out of that paint out of one container, but I've got some more. So that's where I'm up to with the big hill. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye for now. Bye.